I have with me three Bang & Olufsen Play A1s, which I picked up on Amazon Prime Day here in the UK. So I thought I'd do a demonstration, playing a few different types of music at two volume levels. It's sometimes hard to get an objective review of these speakers, as most Bluetooth speakers these days have a huge degree of loudness equalization, so they sound good at lower volumes as well. And so depending on the reviewer, it's hard to get a full appreciation of the quality at different volume levels. Another thing I've noticed on these speakers is that there is a small amount of white noise coming from them. I'd probably attribute that to the rather beefy amps inside these units, which I believe are 30 watts continuous each. Anyway, I'm playing all songs from Spotify with my equalizer turned off, and the binaural microphone is about 1 meter away from the units. So without further ado, I'm going to position the first two of them using Bluetooth in stereo. This should hopefully give you an idea of the soundstage these speakers are capable of putting out. The first song is Jack of Speed by Steely Dan. Do the first 15 seconds at half volume. So I lied there, that was more 30 seconds, but it's better to get a look at the next half of the track for that. So I'm now going to put it on max volume and play that first 30 seconds again. Just as a kind of a personal note, that was quite loud. It definitely turn heads at a party if you have these outside, particularly when playing this kind of music. And they do sound good in stereo. I know in the video they are fairly close together, but hopefully you should still get an idea that they do in fact sound not like mono speakers when they are in stereo, which is not the case for all Bluetooth speakers that pair like this. So the second song is Mr. Man by Dusky. It's more of a house tune, and will sort of highlight that at high volumes the low end extension of these speakers obviously is not as impressive as perhaps if you're playing more mellow music with mid bass. So this is at medium, so half volume, the first few seconds. Okay, now let's do that again at full volume. So they don't sound terrible at high volume, playing sort of house / trance music. They're just a little bit flat in the bottom, which you'd expect for a speaker this size. It is a 3.5-inch peerless driver, I believe, one of their GBS line that's been customized for Bang & Olufsen, and they have about 5-6 millimeters of X-Max. So yeah, so it sounds good at low volumes, and sort of as you creep up, it starts to sound less and less adequate for house music. So if that's your thing, then obviously these speakers aren't really a good value proposition. But apart from that, they are good. So I'm going to connect 3 of them now via a sort of 3.5mm jack. And in this instance, all the speakers will obviously be running in mono, and I will run it at half volume to give you an idea kind of the output these can come out. I haven't adjusted the Tascam, so all the volumes here are kind of linear, if that makes sense, throughout the whole video. Okay, all the speakers are wired up. So let's run jack of speed again at medium volume. I'm going to increase the volume.
Teddy's rolling almost every night, skating backwards at the speed of light.
And now let's try Mr. Man again, starting at medium volume. Again, this is with all 3 speakers. And now I'm going to slowly increase the volume. That was max volume at the end there, and that's with 3 of the speakers. So I have noticed that the loudness equalization sort of still applies when you plug in a 3.5mm aux, but the relationship between the sort of medium level volume versus the highest level volume when you're using an aux cable is a little bit different to when you're using a Bluetooth cable. I've noticed at least that, in that the actual loudness that you get going from sort of 60% volume to 100% does not differ that much, I've found, at least when you're using a 3.5mm cable, in my case from an iPhone to the speaker. But yeah, they are otherwise good speakers. Just as a sort of, I'm going to take the top off of this just to show you the internals. There is a small silk dome tweeter, and there is also a 3.5mm woofer inside there, which does move fair amount when music is playing. There's various teardowns of these that you can find on YouTube. In this case, this unit, when it arrived, had a lot of noise coming from it, where I think during the manufacturing perhaps the actual holes where the screws are were leaking a lot of air, which sort of removed a lot of the bottom end from these speakers. So I've covered them with some sort of blue insulation tape, and that seems to have fixed the problem, and they sound good again. But that is a problem with these speakers, at least I've found in some of them. The other 2 speakers here don't have that problem. But yeah, I hope this was informative, or at least fun. That's me.